Icelocked here with Nocturne Gaming, back with more Legends of Idleon, and today we're taking a look at Drop Rate. Drop Rate or Drop Rarity is one of the most important stats that you can get in Idleon. It is a multiplier to how often you're going to get loot from different mobs as you kill them. So if you take a look at your character screen, the Drop Rarity stat is listed at the bottom just above Classic EXP, and this shows you as a multiplier. This is a true multiplier, however, sometimes it doesn't feel like that. So I have about 102 times Drop Rarity, so this allows me to go into my cards and see that I have about 100 times shown what is on this card. So for Domo Magnus, it's a 1 in 3,334 chance to drop an obol, but with 100 times Drop Rate, that's more like a 1 in 32 to 33 chance to actually get an obol from this mob. That doesn't mean it's going to happen within 32 or 33 kills, it's just that much more likely in comparison to if you didn't have that Drop Rate or Drop Rarity multiplier. Today we're going to go through your entire account, starting with your equipment, gear, tools, all of that, and then move through each world, showing you how to maximize your Drop Rarity. This is super important with one of the more recent updates, the Windwalker. The Windwalker gets bonuses to the equipment and rings that it drops, as well as the medallion drops. So the more Drop Rarity you have on your Windwalker, the easier it's going to be to progress through that, as well as in general, the more Drop Rarity you have on your account, the easier this is all going to be. So with that said, let's get into it. Starting with your gear, God Shard is going to be your best in slot. This includes your helmet, chest, pants, boots, and weapon. Each of these pieces do give a miscellaneous bonus for increased drop chance. If you haven't made it to God Shard equipment yet, you can use the Divine, the equipment from Cattle Cruck. The helmet and boots also give a drop chance bonus. So that is a temporary fix that you can use until you make it to God Shard equipment. For the pendant, the best in slot right now is still going to be the Divine Scarf. This does not have drop chance. If you are looking for every piece to have some drop chance on it, you can use the Chaotic Amrak to get a 5% miscellaneous 5% drop chance bonus. For your rings, your best in slot is going to be the Demented Emperor Opals. These don't give you any drop chance directly, however, they do give you a very large bonus to your luck, as well as a miscellaneous bonus to all stats. The luck stat does give you a small bonus to your Drop Rarity or Drop Rate. This is something at like 60,000, it's giving you about a 1 times multiplier, so it's not a huge thing, but every little bit helps. From here, let's move on to the Specials Equipment tab. This is going to be where some of the best pieces that you can get are, starting with the Premium Helmet. The Siege Captain Cap does give you a 10% drop chance. If you don't have that, you can use the Gold Berry to give you a 10% drop chance as well. They are about the same, so it's up to you for which one you want to use. After that is going to be your trophy. One of the Divine is my recommended trophy for this. It gives you a 42 drop chance bonus and gives you good stats and more total damage. The alternative to this is you can use the Luckier Lad. This does give you more drop chance as well as more luck, so you are going to get a bigger bonus to your Drop Rarity. However, it's not huge, so I prefer to use the Divine for more damage. As you can see, this is a 102.15 to a 102.5, so about 0.35 more drop chance if you want to use that, but you're sacrificing a lot of damage to be able to use the Luckier Lad over the Divine. For your wings or your cloak, you can use the Molten Cloak. This is the only thing that gives you drop chance currently in the game. It is a fairly good cloak, but there are better ones out there for things like AFK rate. So up to you if you want to use this for its bonus. For the name tag, you have 2 options. Well, there's technically a third option. The Ballin name tag is the best for drop chance. This gives you 40% drop chance. But the Aether Moon name tag is a good second best for drop chance. It's only 10% drop chance, but a ton of other big benefits. The third option that you can get is another name tag that gives you 3% drop chance. This was one of the event name tags. I don't actually have it on my account at this point, but it is an option for you if you don't have either of these 2 premium name tags. For your keychains, the best ones are any keychains that give you drop chance. There are some limited shop specials that will give you keychains with at least 25% drop chance on it. These are best in slot. However, you can get some weaker versions of these from doing your normal dungeon runs. So don't feel like you can't get these if you don't have the premium currency. They're just going to be slightly weaker. From there, your best in slot premium ring is the Equinox ring, as it does give you 10% all stats, and there's no other ring out there that gives you anything close to this, so use it for the character that you want to. For your robes, these are both premium items at this point, but they are great for drop chance. The Evergreen robe gives 75% drop chance, and if you don't have that one, you can use the Cobalt robe for 60% drop chance. Both of these are good, so you have two characters that can have a decent drop chance overall. After that, let's move on to the tools. The tools are the same as the gear. Using the God Shard gear is going to be best in slot. Every one of these gives you a 10% drop chance. So if you can make all 6 of the tools, they are going to be a huge gain for your overall drop chance. Lastly is going to be your foods, and there's only one food that you really need to have. However, there's 2 that I recommend. This is going to be the Golden Cake, as it does give you a large bonus to your drop rarity. And then I also recommend having the Golden Grilled Cheese Nomwich, as this does give you increase to your luck. It's a small bonus, but we take everything we can get. Next up is going to be your talents, and there are a few classes that have some class-specific talents, but there's also 3 talents that will be account-wide for you. The first one is going to be the Apocalypse Wow on your Deathbringer. This is going to give you a golden food effect for every mob that you've killed at least 1 billion of on this class. So the more mobs that you have Apocalypse Wow completed for, the more golden food effect, which is going to give you more drop rarity from those golden cakes. So make sure you complete this as soon as you can to get that account-wide bonus. Also for your whole account is going to be the Star Talent Boss Battle Spillover. This gives you more drop rarity for every difficulty of the weekly boss battle you've completed. So if you kill all 5 each week, for me, it's about a 60% increase to our drop rarity. It's a pretty good bonus that affects your entire account as long as you remember to do your boss battles each week. While we're on this class, it is worth mentioning the Hungry for Gold Warrior talent. So for your warrior-based classes, this is another golden food increase for you. Next up is more talents from the Siegebreaker. This is going to be Archlord of the Pirates. This gives you drop rate per power of 10 kills of plunderous mobs. On my account, I have 350,000 plunderous kills, which gives a 24% multiplier to your entire account. This is a multiplier for every character, for not just adding 24% to your drop rarity, but multiplying your entire drop rarity by 24%. So it's one of the biggest bonuses that you can get. However, this can be a grind. The best way that I found is using the Siegebreaker to active farm the oranges or the citrines on the OJ Bay map in World 5. This will allow you to get the most plunderous kills per day. That's going to be about 18 to 20,000 plunderous kills a day if you optimize your account for that. So with that said, it is worth getting to 1 million. However, that's a significant grind, 50 to 60 days of time to actually complete the 1 million kills on plunderous mobs. For most people, it's worth it to get at least 100,000 and then come back to this later in the game, as it's going to get a little bit easier as new bonuses come out. So the other thing worth mentioning on the archer-based classes is the Robin Hood talent that gives you a 34% increase to your drop rarity. This is at a 245 talent level, so you may get more or less based on your talents. And since we're talking about talents, let's not forget the V-Man. The V-Man has 2 talents on the Journeyman page that are worth mentioning for this. This is going to be the Rares Everywhere, which is a direct 24% additive bonus to your drop rarity for the V-Man specifically. And then also on your V-Man, if you're actively farming on him, you can make sure that the Gimme Gimme talent is active. This gives you a 68% chance to double the loot that you have for the next 19 or 20 minutes. So it's just a little bit of extra bonus while you're doing your Crystal Countdown farming, but make sure those are active while you're farming on your Voidwalker. The next bonus is going to come from the Upgrade Vault. This is going to give you a 75% drop rarity additive multiplier from drops for days. This does cost quite a few coins, so it's not going to be something you can get super early in the game, but it shouldn't take you a very long time either, so make sure you grab that as soon as you can. While we're here, let's talk about the guild bonus, Gold Charm, that gives you a 20% total drop rate. This is just a free multiplier for being in a decently leveled guild. If you don't have a guild yet, Noct Gaming and our other 2 guilds are all recruiting at this time, so make sure you drop by the Discord, drop an application in the channel if you're looking for a guild. Link is in the description below. Next up, let's talk about cards. There are 3 sections we need to talk about. That's going to be your active cards, your passive cards, and your card set. For your active cards, you want to use something that's a little bit like this. Make sure that your best 2 cards are going to be in your top left and bottom right slot. So you'll want to make it similar to this. Unless you don't have one of these cards, then you can fill in with using something like the Mimic card that gives you quite a bit less, but it is available as an option if you're looking for more drop rate and you don't have one of these cards. So other than that, your passive cards are going to be things like Domo Magmus, which is going to give you 9% drop rate. The 4th Anniversary card, which is 12% drop rate as a passive. And lastly, the Ancient Golem, which is a 24% drop rate passive. For your card sets, there's really only 2 options for this. This is going to be the Bosses and Nightmares sets or the event sets. Technically, the event set gives you slightly more drop rate if you have all of your cards maxed out. However, the Bosses and Nightmares can give you a bonus to drop rate as well as damage and experience. So personally, I use the Bosses and Nightmares set, as the few extra points isn't quite worth it to me, but that is a choice for you to make. The last account-wide bonuses that you can purchase are from the gem shop. These are bundles that you can purchase when you're purchasing gems, and they do have some pretty crazy multipliers. The Island Explorer bundle and the Deathbringer bundle both have multipliers to your entire account. These act similar to Archlord of the Pirates, and they are a direct multiplier to your drop rarity. They're not additive, they're a multiplier. So they are pretty big bonuses. So if it's something you're interested in, it can increase your total account progress if you're willing to purchase these bundles. Now that we've finished our general account bonuses, let's move through the worlds, starting with stamps in World 1. In stamps, there's going to be 3 things that we need to pay attention to. The first is going to be the Golden Sixes stamp. This gives you a 15% drop rate, which can be multiplied by the Exalted stamp bonus. Then in the miscellaneous tab, the Golden Apple stamp is also great, as this multiplies your Golden Food effect. And then doubling this with the Exalted stamp as well is giving me a 248 increase to our Golden Foods. The last thing that we should pay attention to is in bribes, and we're looking for 5 aces in the deck, which is a 1.2 times multiplier for your drop rate all over the game for all of your characters. So make sure you pick up all 3 of these as soon as you can. Next up is our star signs. There's 3 star signs that give you a little bit of drop rate. This is going to be Pirate Booty for 5% drop rate. And then in the Seraphs tab, you have 12% drop rarity, as well as 20% golden food bonus. It is worth picking up all 3 of these because you can double these using the World 4 chips. So it's a small bonus, but it can add up. Also in World 1 is going to be your companions. There are 3 companions that increase your drop rate. This is going to be Crystal Custard for a 100% drop rate bonus. Then you also have Quincy for a 15% drop rate bonus. And lastly, Malay, which gives you a 1.3 times multiplier to your total drop rarity. So if you have 100 times drop rarity before Malay, getting this will give you 130 times drop rarity. So it's an account-wide multiplier similar to Archlord of the Pirates. For our last bonus in World 1, this is going to be Orion the Owl Clicker. This is going to give you a fairly decent bonus to your drop rate. For me, it's 46% more drop rate. However, mine is on the lower end, and I know some people are already in the 60% drop rate bonus. So make sure you're completing more of the Owl Clicker to get another fairly easy and fairly early game multiplier to your drop rarity, as well as a bunch of other stats that can really help out early game players. Moving on to World 2, we're going to start with Alchemy. Alchemy has two bubbles that we're looking at. This is going to be The drop and loads bubble, that's going to give you a decent bonus. This for me is 38% more drop rate. This does cap out fairly early, so getting to even 31, 32% is fairly easy. After that is going to be an orange bubble, and we're looking for the golden food bonus from Shimmeron, which is going to give you 76% more golden food effect. So make sure you're grabbing these alchemy bubbles as soon as you can. The other thing worth mentioning in alchemy is going to be your sigils. This is going to be your trove to increase your drop rate by up to 30%, and then also the golden food bonus from Emoji Veggie, which is going to give you 40% bonuses to your golden food. Keep in mind that in some of the sailing bonuses, you can increase the value of these sigils, so they're not quite as small as they look here, so make sure you're grabbing your sigils as it makes sense to. A quick mention for the post office, make sure you're dumping boxes into the non-predatory loot box. This gives you 33% more drop rarity, 93.8 more luck, and as kind of a secondary bonus, the crystal mob spawn chance is one of the better bonuses that you can get from the post office, so this is worth it fairly early in the game. Next up is going to be Obols. Obols is one of the best sources for drop rate in the game. This is because it's a base drop rate additive bonus that gets multiplied by all of your other bonuses. So from this, I get a 316% increase to my drop chance. This requires you to put in quite a bit of effort and min-maxing your obols to get to that amount. For this, you're going to want to use the same obols on your personal and family tab to get the most that you can out of your obols. For your circle obols, you're going to want to use silver pop obols. You don't want to go above silver because this will make them upgrade into golden squares instead, so stay at silver pop obols. For your squares, hexagon, and sparkle obols, you'll want to use dice obols. Now, a few things about this to help optimize this. When you're upgrading your bronze pop obols to silver, you want to go into the upgrades tab and grab one of your bronze pop obols, and you'll see that this is a 2% drop chance. Now, you can re-roll this into a 3% drop chance before upgrading it. When you do this, put it in the left side slot and then grab any other bronze pop obol. It doesn't have to be upgraded. This is a 2% obol in the right slot. Now, this is only a 25% combined chance, so you can fail this and you'll need more pop obols to be able to succeed. However, when you succeed, you'll get a 4% drop chance pop obol instead of 3%, which is going to save you a ton of fragments in trying to re-roll. As you see, this is 3 fragments per compared to 1 fragment per re-roll. So that's one of the easiest sources that you can do. And then you'll want to make sure you're also upgrading your dice obol to the next point up as well. You can add 1% to any of the obols. So for example, in the upgrades tab, I have a spare sparkle dice here that's at 15%. This does cost a ton of fragments, so you can re-roll this and hopefully get 16% drop chance on each of your dice obols. Well, 16% for sparkles, 7% on squares, and 11% on hexagon obols. All of that added up will give you a ton of extra drop chance on all of your obols. One thing to mention on this is when you're trying to farm your obols. For the pop obols, I recommend using your Elemental Sorcerer on Giga Frogs in World 1. It's going to be your fastest rate of getting pop obols and sitting there and re-rolling them and upgrading them as you can. You'll need 12 for your personal tab, and I believe it's 12 more for your family tab of the pop obols. If you get lucky and can get some hyper obols, that will save you some time as well as give you a little bit more drop chance. For your dice obols, the easiest way to get these is using your Divine Knight in a crystal farming setup and farming either sandy pots or snelbies in World 2. The dice obols that you get from World 2 is also one of the best sources of obol fragments to use for re-rolling your obols. So as you can see with some of these silver obols here, they're not that great. When we sell them, which we can sell a few here. These are going to give you just a few fragments each, 3 fragments each, versus a dice obol is going to give you 9 fragments a piece for a gold dice obol. So this can be one of the easiest sources to get a ton of fragments when you're crystal farming for your dice obols. For our last 2 bonuses in World 2, it's going to start with the arcade. The arcade shop does have a drop rate multiplier that comes up every now and then. This is going to give you up to 30% more drop rate. If you have it doubled at base without the doublers, it's going to be 15% more drop rate. Other than that, there is one that's not very reliable, but the bonus ballot sometimes can have an increase to your drop rate as well. So if you're looking for something specific, like farming those obols from Domo Magnus, it may be worth waiting on the bonus ballot to give you an extra little hand to your drop rate. Moving on to World 3, we have 3 bonuses to cover here, starting with your prayer. This is going to come from Midas Minded. This gives you a 118% drop rate with a penalty of multiplying their health by about 15 times. This can be a really good bonus if you have the damage to support it. However, this is more of a late game bonus or if you're going back to farming earlier worlds. Keep in mind that this can make things super painful for certain classes like the Elemental Sorcerer. This does multiply the HP of all mobs, including portal mobs, so it can make you get less portal count when you're farming on your Elemental Sorcerer, and is probably not recommended unless you just have a ridiculous amount of damage. Now, other things can also be harmed for this, such as when you're farming on your Windwalker or your Deathbringer, they can increase the HP of the mobs and make it almost impossible to farm these lower damage builds. After that is going to be the Clover Shrine from the Construction Workbench in World 3. This is going to give me a bonus of 87% more drop rate based on how many times you leveled it up. With all of the bonuses available in World 4, 5, and 6, this becomes fairly easy to get it into the mid-20s. For our last bonus in World 3, this is going to come from the Equinox Faux Jewels. Currently at level 21, this is giving me 105% more drop rate. However, I can get this up to level 36, which would give me 180% more drop rate. This continues to climb as we get more levels from the summoning winter bonuses and endless summoning, so it wouldn't surprise me if we could see this at 200% in the near future. Moving on to World 4, we're starting with the shiny pets. There are 3 shiny pets that give you increased drop rate. This is the Slime, the Xylobone in World 3, and the Chalky in World 4. Each of these pets give you 1% drop rate per shiny level. So at level 14, this is giving me a total of 42% more drop rate. Moving on to the lab, we're starting with the Certified Stamp Book to give us an indirect bonus. This doubles all of our bonuses from miscellaneous tab stamps. This includes our Golden Apple stamp to give us a bonus of more golden food effect. Also in the lab, in the console, you have several chips that can help us out. This is going to be mainly your doublers. So your 2 card doublers at the top for your top left and bottom right slots, as well as your doublers for the keychain slot, the trophy, and the star signs. One other thing to mention here is going to be the drop rate chip itself. This only works for basically early game players. If your drop rate is less than 5.0, then this will allow you to get an extra 60% drop rate fairly early in the game. One thing to mention for your cooking bonuses is going to be the Yumi Peach Ring that gives us a multiplier to all of our golden foods. I currently have a level 14 stamp on this, which is giving me a decent multiplier, so I have a 2,110% bonus to all of my golden foods. Also in World 4 is going to be the Tome. This does have a significant bonus to drop rarity. For me, it's 136%. This is based off of your Tome score, as well as you have to buy the books from the World 5 shop to unlock this bonus. So once you unlock it, it's going to multiply based on your Tome score to give you a significant bonus to your drop rarity. Since this is in World 4, we'll go ahead and mention it now, but this is for a World 6 skill. This is going to come from Sneaking Mastery. As you make it to the end of Mastery 1 in Sneaking, or floor 12, you'll unlock the bonus that gives you 30% more drop rarity. So this is a little later in Sneaking, and as you make a decent amount of progress into World 6, that you'll get this basically free bonus to your drop rarity. Moving on to World 5, our first bonus comes from Sailing. This is going to be the Chilled Yarn. This is an indirect bonus, but it multiplies all of the bonuses from your sigils up to 4 times when you get it to the Sovereign Artifact form. This multiplies our bonuses in alchemy that we talked about earlier, namely the Trove and the Emoji Veggie. So instead of 30%, now you have 120% drop rate. And instead of 40%, you now have 160% more golden food bonus because of Chilled Yarn. In the hole in World 5, you have a few different bonuses, starting with Gloomy Looty in the Engineer schematics. This is going to give you 5% drop rate for each colony of Gloomies you've defeated. So for me, this is 12 colonies to give me a 60% bonus to my drop rate. Also in the Engineers tab further down, you will have the Sanctum of Loot, which gives you 20% drop rate for each Sanctum of the Ancient Golems you've cleared. For me, this is about 25 Sanctums or 24 Sanctums, which is giving me almost 500% more drop rarity based on the number of Sanctums that you killed. In the Measurer tab, you have one bonus at the very bottom. This is the 16th upgrade to the Measurer, and this gives you a drop rate multiplier. This also increases based on the number of golems you killed in the Sanctum. So for me, this is giving me a total of 82% more drop rate. And the last bonus from the hole is going to come from the Wisdom Monument. This gives me a 45% more drop rate multiplier depending on how many times you've selected the player drop rate multiplier when completing the Wisdom Monument daily minigame. And moving into World 6, we have quite a few bonuses to talk about. Starting in Sneaking, we have 4 Pristine Charms that can help us out either directly or indirectly. Starting with the Cloud here to give us a 1.15 times drop rate. Then we also have a 1.3 times bigger Summoning Winner bonus. This gives us quite a bit more drop rate from other bonuses that we'll talk about in a minute with Summoning. After that, you have the Sword to give you 50% bonus to Golden Foods. And lastly, this is the Stamp Doubler bonus. So if you spend Exalted stamps on the stamps that we talked about before, the Loaded 6 and the Golden Apple stamp, this will give you 20% more from those bonuses. So they can help out quite a bit. Also from Sneaking, you can unlock the Golden Beanstalk. This is a bonus that allows you to drop in golden foods and allow their bonuses to be active all the time on all characters. So one of the things we can get from this is the drop rarity from golden cakes. We've talked about a ton of bonuses that multiply your golden food. So for me, this is adding up to almost 3,000% extra bonus from our golden foods. This is giving me a total of 201% more drop rarity. Keep in mind that you do need to sacrifice golden food to this beanstalk, so I have put in a total of 110,000 golden cakes to get this bonus. However, you can double this up by also having golden foods equipped in your inventory at the same time. So I'm getting 143% from this, plus 200% from the golden beanstalk. So it's well worth it to do this as soon as possible. Moving on to Summoning, there are quite a few bonuses in the Summoner's winner bonuses table. The most obvious one is going to be the 206% from drop rate itself. However, keep in mind that there's a ton of other things that help out here as well, such as 30% increase to all stats to give you more luck, more meal bonuses for that golden food bonus. You also have the Equinox max level to be able to upgrade the faux jewels. You also have more winner bonuses at the bottom to multiply all of these things. So overall, there's a ton of bonuses in the Summoner's table that's going to help out. So the more you do Summoning, either the basic Summoning or the endless Summoning, it's going to help you out with your drop rate overall. And lastly, from farming, we have a couple of bonuses to help out our drop rate, starting in the land rank database. So as you level up your land ranks, you'll be able to get more points in this, and that means you can increase your drop rate using the Seed of Loot. This is increasing my drop rarity by 232%, so it's a very large bonus that you can get. This does need you to spend some time with the Deathbringer as well to be able to continue upgrading your land rank databases to higher levels. And our last bonus is going to be from the Crop Scientist. Based on the number of crops that you have unlocked, you can get more drop rate here. This is 213% more drop rate based on the number of crops. I've only found 197 of the 230 or 240 crops, so I can get even more drop rate from this as I finish up my farming bonuses. Remember to hit that like and subscribe button and drop a comment if you're enjoying our videos. And a huge shout out to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. If you would like to become a patron, check out the link in the description for more details. And be sure to visit our merch store so you can get some pretty cool stuff. If you have any thoughts or questions, let us know down below, and we'll see you next time.